Welcome back to No Longer Tossed, where we talk about the things that we need to know in order to grow into maturity with Christ and to no longer be tossed by the various winds and waves of deceptive ideas. So last video we talked about the idea of truth in general. And so this video we're going to establish which of those matches best with the Christian conception of truth. And so which one does so? The Christian conception of truth is about absolute truth and the correspondence theory of truth. And so when you look at a passage like Romans 1:18 through 19, you really see that bore out pretty well. It says, "For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men, who by their unrighteousness suppress the truth. For what can be known about God is plain to them because God has shown it to them." So God has revealed himself to all creation. It is plain to them. It is an objective feature of reality for people to perceive and recognize. And people can either recognize it or, in their unrighteousness, suppress it. Then we go over to 1 Corinthians 15:12 through 20. And Paul essentially stakes, all of Christianity on the correspondence theory of truth. And so he says, "Now if Christ is proclaimed as raised from the dead, how can some of you say there is no resurrection of the dead?" So that's both an absolute statement, and you're saying that that statement does not correspond with reality. He goes on, "If there is no resurrection of the dead, then not even Christ has been raised. And if Christ has not been raised, then our proclamation is in vain, and so is your faith. Moreover, we are found to be false witnesses about God, because we have testified wrongly about God that he raised up Christ, whom he did not raise up, if in fact the dead are not raised." So Paul seems to say, if it is not the reality that Christ has been raised from the dead, you're wasting your time. Go do something else. But then verse 20, "But as it is, Christ has been raised from the dead." And so if Christ has been raised from the dead, you're not wasting your time, and you should throw your whole life behind that. Now, on this next passage, there's been a little bit of debate throughout church history as to whether this really is the case. This is one of those few times I am going to take a position, because I think this really helps our discussion here. And so Jesus as the Word in John chapter 1, it says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." This actually really illustrates the correspondence theory of truth well, because the Greek term for word in the Bible, logos, it can mean reason. And it was also thought of in Greek philosophy as the rational principle which ordered the universe. And so in John 1:3, when it says, "All things were created through him, and apart from him not one thing was created that has been created," we see a correlation between Jesus' relationship with creation as the divine logos and the Greeks' understanding of the rational ordering principle of the universe. So Jesus takes that principle and he personifies it. The principle isn't abstract, it's a person. And this person is the creator and sustainer of the universe. And so Jesus is not merely corresponding with reality. He is the one controlling and sustaining all of reality. That's taken the correspondence theory of truth to a whole nother level. And so when Jesus says, "I am the way, the truth, and the life," in John 14:6, what better illustration of Jesus's being the truth is there besides his controlling all of reality? And also going back real quick to John 1:1, there's an obvious correlation between Genesis 1:1, "In the beginning God created the heavens and the earth," and John 1:1, "In the beginning was the Word." And so, that passage is showing us Jesus is both the truth for the Jews and the truth for the Gentiles. And if that's the case, he's the truth for everybody. And that's good news for all of us. So hope you enjoyed this discussion on Christianity's view of truth. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.